All right, everyone. Well, welcome back, and we are very luckily joined this morning by Damien Brown, head of Base Training Center, and also the head of Beatdown Promotions. So, look, Damien, firstly, thank you very much for joining us today. Look, I want to get straight into it. You obviously have a big card coming up next weekend, and look, as the man organizing it, we won't ask you for any predictions. But are there any fights on the card that really stand out for you in terms of bringing the excitement?
Yeah, man. I mean, everyone knows that Matt Bale brings a fight. He's exciting. He's entertaining. He looks to finish. He has a great record. He's 11-2. I'm pretty, even as a fan or a promoter, whichever it is, I'm pretty confident in saying that he's probably very overdue for a UFC contract. But the UFC like people to be active, and I guess it sort of hasn't worked out for him over the last couple of years. It hasn't for many people, but he's had a bit of a struggle to stay active. We had an opponent pull out on the last card. Couldn't find a replacement super quick. Funny enough, Will Chope was keen last time around as well to take it on 2 days' notice, but we couldn't get him from Perth in time. He happened to be in Australia already, but we just couldn't get him on a plane in time, so it just never really happened. And then this time around, we had an opponent from a long way out, and unfortunately he withdrew for injury and whatnot. And we needed someone, and I put it out there, put it out to the world, to pretty much every welterweight in the country, or at least anyone that's in the top 10 on Tapology were offered the fight, unless I already knew they were injured or booked. And then I threw a line to Will again, and he was in Thailand, and he couldn't jump at it quick enough. So, for those that don't know, he's 39 and 18, and he's fought, the likes of Max Holloway in the UFC back in the early days. He's no slouch. He's living and training in Thailand, and he takes fights and he brings it to him. So, I think that, it's the main event. I love to hype the main event, but that's an exciting fight. You know what I mean? That's, you're talking about the best welterweight in Australia and New Zealand versus someone that's had 60 fights. Like it's pretty exciting. It's a big opportunity. I think props go to both guys, because if someone offered me a guy that was 39 and 18 on 2 weeks' notice, you'd have to think about taking it, right?
Yeah.
But Vale didn't think about it. He just said, "Find me someone. I don't care."
Yeah, 100%. Damien,
and that was it.
Yeah, 100%. Damien, something I do want to ask you is, I'm curious to know about the promotion. Obviously, it's still early days, and still got a lot of things coming for the future. But do you foresee a future where there is belts and champions, and maybe crowning a Beatdown champion?
I don't know the answer to that question. I'm not a huge fan of Australian titles. It's MMA. Everything's a promotional title. There's no such thing. Like, I could call it Beatdown Promotions World Title, and it's a world title. Like, it's all. The reality is, it's all bullshit, but it looks great on camera. And maybe in 15, 20 shows, who knows? Maybe we'll get there and it'll be worth it. But I just think that belts are like, it's hard because if someone's your champ and then they go on and fighting for someone else, and it doesn't really give it the credibility that it deserves. But at the same time, as a promoter, I don't think that making a champion stay exclusive is worth it for the athlete's career. Like, let's not forget, I was an athlete before I was a promoter, and a big part of what I want to do as a promoter is to make life a little easier for the athletes, and signing them up to some kind of exclusive deal, which is not a dig at anyone, just to be clear. I signed an exclusive deal before I was in the UFC. But my opinion on an exclusive deal is literally like, you should be exclusive geographically. So you pretty much, your exclusive deal should be 150 Ks for instance. You know, like even when I signed with Ryzen, it's only exclusive in Asia. So I can go and fight for anyone, anywhere in the world. Just you know, so I just think that like belts bring exclusivity and to give them credit, and yeah, I don't know if that's something that's, you know, something that I really want to do.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, Damien, as someone who has competed internationally and is obviously quite big on the local scene, from your perspective, what are some more steps that can be taken to grow the local scene here in Brisbane, as it's not quite a hotbed for mixed martial arts yet?
Well, look, I just think I think it's hard, because, you know, we need more shows, but I think it needs to be the biggest issue is that, you know, you look at sports like football and stuff that gets big, and it's about the sport, it's not about the business. Whereas when you talk about promoting fights, you know, running a promotion is like running a business, and it needs to be profitable to be you know, beneficial or sustainable. So I think that there's probably a big balance there, but I think we need more shows, you know, more opportunities. But then, you know, more shows, more opportunities means more competition for the business side of things. And then everyone loses money. So then the shows thin out. You know, I remember back in the day, probably 2012, 2013, it was like a show in Southeast Queensland every second weekend, you know, for the most of the year. And it was like you could fight 6 times in Southeast Queensland. I reckon you would be struggling to do that right now because there's only 2 or 3 promotions, and they all hold shows on the same date. You know, or they'll hold shows 3 times a year in the same month. So it restricts fighters' abilities to stay busy. I also think doing something as far as the amateurs go to make the scene, you know, we don't pay amateurs, so you can technically run an amateur show out of a gym and probably still give these guys enough experience to, you know, make, I guess, like build the local scene. You know, if we didn't focus on the pros, we focused on the amateurs. We could put shows on, essentially, if your gym is big enough, you could put a show on in the gym, and these guys can fight like all year round, and it doesn't cost you money to run it. So from a business point of view, maybe it's not super cool, but from a sport point of view, amateurs could fight more regularly at random times of the year. So rather than it being March, June, July, September, October, and that's it for the year, it might be like May, April, May, you know, July, August, September, and then again November, December, and like all of a sudden you got, you know, 4 or 5 amateur shows a year in between these big ones. I think that will help grow the scene. I think by doing that, you can lower the cost of allowing people to watch and just cover your costs, put on more shows. And then I think to make that work, amateurs need to fight close to their weight. So I think the key to being regular is to only cut sort of like a 2 kilo, 3 kilo cut, keeping everyone really close. And you know, I guess that sort of comes back as a coach. I think as a coach on the local scene, you know, you guys don't need to cut heaps of weight, and they should be fighting all the time, because it's not about winning and losing, but more about learning. And no one cares about your amateur record. People only care about your professional record. Like, I never heard anyone talk about Anderson Silva's amateur record or Tyrone Woodley's amateur record. You know, like no one even knows they exist. They had heaps of fights. So get out there, get amongst it, fight as often as you can, as close to your walk around weight as you can, and as long as you're not taking too many knockouts, then get after it. You know what I mean? And then I think more fight shows, particularly amateur fight shows, where the focus is not on making as much money as possible, but providing more opportunity, and therefore more opportunity for fans to come and watch. And that's how I think we make the sport a bit better that way.
Yeah, 100%. Damien, I want to know, what is the big goal for you with Beatdown Promotions, and where do you sort of look to take it in the next 3 to 5 years? Because I think I truly think you guys have a big and bright future. With yourself being, a promoter now and being a former fighter, I think you can have a really good perspective on sort of how to, how these athletes and fighters, can be treated. So, what is your big goal with the promotion?
Man, I'll be honest, I don't have one. I just wanted to run a fight show, and when I first started, I wanted to help my mate get into MMA, and I think as a fighter, it's pretty easy to struggle with coming from an international scene to a local scene, and I wanted to help someone get into MMA, and so I said I'll put a fight show on and I'll bring an international here. And that's sort of where it started, and then just it went pretty well. And so I guess the same as my gym, when I first started, it was like I just want to coach, so I just got a small building and started coaching, and I just got to be myself and see where it took us. And obviously most people walk in now and they're like, holy shit, look how good's that gym. But it's really just being nice to people and watching where it goes, and then just sort of evolving with it. I sort of see the fight promotion much the same. Like I said, I got into it to help someone out, and I thought about it for a few years. So make no mistake about it, he was helping me out too. So we just went, let's just run a show. And for a long period of time, I couldn't work out why people can't make shows work at the Evansville Hotel. So I'm a person that likes a challenge. So I thought I'll have a crack at that, and I'm pretty sure someone can make it work. But needless to say, we got our next 3 shows booked in for 2023 already. So I'm confident we can make it work. I'm confident that we can stay around for a long period of time. And I don't really have, this long-term goal of like, I want to be, the biggest promotion in the country, or, I want 15 title holders who are exclusive to me, or that I want to be the path to the UFC, or that I want to run shows in Adelaide and bloody Darwin or anything. I don't have any goals really. My goal is to run the next show and to not lose money and to put on the fun fights. And I think that if you look at the card, you can see that, you know what I mean? Like Choke versus Vale, Compton versus Joblin. I mean, these are big fights. These are the best fights this country can put on. So, there's a lot of up and coming talent, but there's also a lot of veterans around, and like I said, we've got some super exciting fights. So I don't really have like a long term goal. That's just me being honest. It's I just want to run one show at a time, and obviously I'll book some in advance. So just keep cracking on and see where it takes us.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, Damien,
I've got a plan for each show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I know what I want out of the event. So as long as we keep doing that, each one's going to get bigger. Yeah. And that's the end goal, I guess, is to just keep getting bigger. But I don't have like a vision of like what it looks like.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, look, Damien, you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but can you speak to the journey of sort of starting your own team and gym down at Base Training Center, which is an amazing facility, and I've rolled with a few of your students who have dropped in, and you guys can definitely go. It's good to see. So can you just sort of talk us through that journey, as it certainly would have had its ups and downs, particularly through, COVID and post-COVID sort of era?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's been a crazy 3.5 years because of COVID, but, I guess we sort of, I always wanted a gym, even when I was in the army as a PT. I wanted a CrossFit gym. So I always sort of wanted my own business. And, I guess I just got cut by the UFC, and I thought, now's the time. So I pulled the trigger. It took me a little bit because we couldn't find a building. And once we got it, I wasn't a PT. I didn't even have a client. I literally sold my first 20 memberships in a concrete shed with no floor. So we didn't even have a mat in there. So, it was pretty crazy to think about it. Like, I put a gym together with mats and equipment, but, we didn't have any paintings on the wall. I didn't even have a reception desk. Like, there's a whole bunch of shit that I forgot. I didn't even buy T-shirts for my opening day. So everything from being like from forgetting things to to making sure that we fit it out with the best equipment we could. It's like we've kind of done it all, and we've made mistakes, but nothing crucial, obviously. And we just we just take it as it comes. I'm a pretty chill person, so I sort of just take things as they come. And I try not to be too reactive, and I try not to be too concrete in my plans, and sort of like flow a little bit. For the most part, if it feels right, I let it happen. And I think I've been very fortunate. I know a lot of people talk about UFC pay and stuff like that, but I think I've been very fortunate. I worked a full-time job my entire career, and I never focused on fight purses to pay the bills.
Yeah.
So I use my fight purse to start my gym, and I feel like it probably a lot of what I have is a credit to the UFC and what they provided me, outside of just being a UFC veteran. But they did a lot for me, and I'm grateful for that. And I think it put us in a good position to endure COVID as well, because that, and just being nice to people. I think I didn't lose any members during COVID, so we were lucky there. And I guess it's been a weird one, man. I could go on for ages. It's had its ups and downs. But the first 10 weeks was the first 10-week lockdown. That was the real tester. Like that was tough. I hadn't even been in business for a year, and and then I shut my doors without a time frame. And then, like most people, I probably had a landlord that was trying to charge me rent while I couldn't operate my business. So that's a whole other story.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's been fun, man. It's been fun. I've had a lot of. I don't feel stressed about it or anything. I've had a whole lot of fun. I love coaching, instructing, teaching people, and I literally am living the dream and not working a day in my life. So I think as long as you keep that perspective, then people can feed off that. So it's been fun, man. I don't really know what to say. I literally every day I wake up and I get to go to the gym, and every night I turn the lights off. I'm like, this is mine. So I'm appreciative of every single day and every moment that I get. Being able to coach and teach, and running a business is fun.
Yeah,
stressful but fun.
Yeah, that 100%. Look, Damien, I know you got to go, man. You got a busy day ahead with Craig Jones, so we won't keep you any longer. But I want to thank you for your time, man, and for anyone watching. Beatdown Promotions 2 is next Saturday, October 15th, live at Eaton's Hill Hotel, North Brisbane. Get your tickets. There's still some available on the website. There's also a link on our website as well, so you click that and get your tickets still. So it's going to be a great night of fights, a very exciting and entertaining night. We can't wait to be there and look forward to the fights. Damien, thank you for your time today, man, and we look forward to seeing you next Saturday.
No worries, man. Thanks for that. I really appreciate it. And thanks for letting me share a little tiny snippet of the story. So maybe in the future we can share the whole thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds good.
All right,
Thanks,
man.
Damien.
Thanks very much.